Introducing the starting line for Trotwood Rams. Trotwood entered the game this evening with a record of 7 wins, 4 losses. Starting the season at one guard, a junior, number 1, Hugh Huffman. At guard, freshman number 2, Jalen Dixon. At guard, freshman number 3, Ray Raymond. At forward, a senior, number 4, Gallus McIntyre. And at forward, a junior, number 20, Eris McIntyre. Head coach of the Lady Rams is Henry Bennett, assisted by Tibet Brown. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for the Lady Firebirds. Lady Firebirds entered the game this evening with a record of 11 wins, 1 loss. Starting this evening at guard, a 5'9" senior, number 5, Kiera Thornton. At guard, a 5'8" sophomore, number 15, Mallory Hollinger. At forward, a 6'3" senior, number 21, Madeline Whitwell. At center, a 6'4" senior, number 22, Addison Bartley. And at guard, a 5'7" senior, number 23, Tyra Webster. Head coach of the Lady Firebird Varsity, Jeremy Finn, assisted by Aaron Brock, Megan Porter, and Rick Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, our officials for this evening's game are Mr. Corey Davenport, Mr. Andre Bumpus, and Mr. Mark Horton. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Well, I'm looking at their two Division I commits. I'm looking at Madison Bartley and I'm looking at Madison Westbelt. Those two players have led this team all year this year. Of course, Madison Westbelt going to Notre Dame, Bartley going to Belmont. I'm looking for those two players to get big rebounds and score big points at big times.
And really honors that were just announced yesterday. Both Madison Bartley and Westbelt are 2 of the 14 finalists for Ohio for McDonald's All-American. So definitely a lot of talent here on the court.
And yeah, you just mentioned that, and you also have a lot of bench players like Kendall Ketterer. She just committed to Urbana, so she'll be playing Division II. Mal Hullinger already getting offers. She's only a sophomore too. Makira Webster is starting to get some offers. This team is very, very talented, and that's one of the main reasons why they're ranked number 6 in the state. And
I don't want to correct you, but the new rankings came out today, and Fairmont's climbed all the way up to number 2 in the state, both in Division I and in the state rankings, and has climbed all the way up to number 33 in the nation. So Fairmont looking strong with an 11-1 record, especially when they knocked off the number 2 team in the nation earlier this year. As we are waiting for the clock operator to put time back on the clock, and it is set 7:56 because the jump ball the jump ball ended up being called a jump ball after they both went to the floor, and the Firebirds finally gained possession, and we're ready for our MVCC game of the week.
And this crowd is already fired up. They're ready to watch the Firebirds play some basketball here tonight.
And watching the Firebirds throughout the season like I have, Fairmont kind of starts off a little bit slow, but what really kills a lot of the teams they've gone up against is the middle 8. The last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third quarter is where the Firebirds strike, and they're averaging almost nearly 45 points in that 8-minute span.
And you mentioned that too. Last game they went down pretty big to Springboro. They went down, I think it was 9-0, and they were able to battle back and got a good, decent win over a very good Springboro team. I think Springboro at the time was ranked number 8 in the state. It was number 6 and number 8 at the time. Great win there for the Firebirds, and they're something else. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. That was our first game of the year, and it was definitely a nail-biter between the two schools. As Kira Thornton gets the bucket, the first points for the game. And she's a player, she has come on strong the last 5 games for the Firebirds, coming in averaging just under, I think, 10 points a game, but over the last 5, she's averaging almost 12, 13 points a game.
And you said the last 5 games, though, she's been in this program for the last few years, and she has developed just as how Fairmont wanted her to develop, too. She has been a big role player, a big player on this varsity level, on this varsity team.
Webster, a low pass that ricocheted off of a player, and Trotwood comes out and drills a 3. That was number 3. for the Rams. That was Raven Redmond with a 3. And Westbell gets home on another easy layup, and then that's a player that Trotwood's going to have to try and defend. That's like the Swiss Army knife for the Firebirds. She can play all 5 positions, and she can shoot the ball from anywhere on the court.
Passed by Q Huffman.
And Q Huffman with a basket there.
Another big player for this Firebirds team is big post lady Madison Bartley. She just picked up her 1,000th career point last Saturday against Northmont.
Yeah, both Bartley and Westbell picked up their 1,000 points this season. As Bartley forces a turnover and a jump ball will be called. And I think it's going to be in favor of Trotwood. So, but Trotwood not backing down from the fight here early, up 7-4. As Q Huffman's shot is no good, but it ricochets out of bounds, and it's going to stay with the Firebirds.
And for a second, it looked like, I'm looking at the monitor we have right here, and it looked like, from my angle, it's out of bounds off of Madison Bartley.
I thought so, but maybe she pushed it off. That's the only thing I think of is Huffman forces a turnover, gives it off, and the shot is no good, though. And a foul was called. I did not see what the ref signaled. They're going to tag Thornton with a foul.
That was a very, very, very late foul call there. That was probably called about 3-4 seconds after the foul even happened.
Inbound pass quickly, and Thornton gets back in a travel.
That one little stutter step, a little stutter step and go, and that's what cost her there. And you know, it's an easy thing for basketball players to do. You're always moving, you're always jumpy, you're ready to go. And, you know, it's an easy thing for basketball players to do, and you just can't do that.
No, and a lot of the time, especially in college and NBA, it goes uncalled a lot of the times, but refs stay on it in high school. Hollinger's going to shoot a 3, and she drills it. As Hollinger ties it up with 4:30 left in the first quarter. And that's one, if you're Trotwood, you do not want her to catch fire from behind the arc.
And I think we mentioned before the game that she's only a sophomore too. She's got 2 more years to play with the Firebirds. She's already got offers from big schools coming in and getting offered to her already. Think about how well and how many schools are going to be after her come her senior year.
Right. Especially in the next 2 years, she's probably going to be one of the leaders for the Firebirds. As Huffman answered back with a 3 of her own for Trotwood.
In fact, Mal Hollinger, going back to her, she was the only freshman last year on varsity.
Right, I do remember that, and Fairmont's going to call a timeout, down 10-7 with 3:52. But Trotwood coming in and proving that they're not afraid of the number 2 team in the state.
We just watched the JV game before this, and I'll tell you what, this Trotwood team looks nothing like the JV Trotwood team.
Yeah, completely night and day, but that's like we said. I mean, you pick the best players from each grade for varsity, and it's definitely showing here early that Trotwood does have a strong varsity team.
And I know varsity is always going to be better than their JV team, but I mean, just the transition, the Trotwood varsity team is looking very comfortable, very calm out there. They're not turning over the ball as much, whereas the JV team was just kind of all over the place. You don't really expect a drop-off kind of like that big.
Yeah, Trotwood comes in with a 7-4 record to tonight's game. Their losses are only against GWalk teams at Lebanon, at Springboro, at Beaver Creek, and at Wayne. And they're all on the road. So definitely a strong season for the Firebirds as Westbelt is triple teamed. Finally finds Webster in the corner for a 3, and it's good.
3-point basket, Webster.
3 on the other end, answers back with one of their own. I did not catch the number for that. That was number 3, Raven Redmond again. She has 2 threes in this quarter. And right now, this is what we hope for when we pick our schedule for game of the week. Trading baskets back and forth. Thornton Webster down low to Bartley, kicks it to Westbeld, and the shot is no good, but Bartley rips the board, goes for the jump back, and they're gonna call a jump ball, the 3rd jump ball already this quarter.
And this one is in favor of Trotwood. And real quick, I want to look at Fairmont's point guard, Makira Webster. And you got all these big names like Hollinger, Westbelt, Bartley, but I truly believe that the glue of that team, the heart and soul of that team is Makira Webster. She is the proud leader of that team, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, she's the point guard that brings the ball up the court 90% of the time, and she's the floor general for this Firebirds team, as that basket is no good, but Trotwood answers with an offensive board from the free throw line, and that shot's good by Redmond. Or not Redmond, I'm sorry, that was Jalen Dixon. Westbelt up court to Hollinger, over to Webster, her 3 on the way is good! 2 for 2 from behind the arc for Webster. Webster 2 threes, both on, and that's good shooting, both on opposite ends of the arc. Almost a backcourt violation. And Trotwood's going to call a timeout with exactly 2 minutes left, leading 15-13.
And I want to say one thing real quick, and going back to Makira Webster, the leader of this team. I mean, yeah, she's leading Fairmont right now in points, but usually you won't really see her scoring a whole lot of points. She's more an assist point guard, and that's one thing that, if you're a point guard, that's what you're supposed to be. A lot of people get confused because you see the Steph Currys, the Russell Westbrooks, the James Hardens, all those guards in the NBA who are the lead scorers of their team. Your main goal as a point guard is not to be the lead scorer. It's supposed to be the lead assist man. It's supposed to be the vocal point. It's supposed to be your leader. You want to dish the players out into your other players, and that's how you create ball movement. And usually that's why point guards are supposed to lead the team in assists.
Yeah, and her scoring role has definitely diminished a little bit from last year to this year. But like you said, her assist to turnover ratio has increased tremendously.
And one of the reasons why that is because she has more shooters around her this year too. Like now Hollinger already a year under her belt. Very come and draw strong, very good athlete. You got a lot of good bench players that can shoot the 3. Firebirds have just improved their game altogether from last year.
Westbeld is going to be called for the offensive foul there. And right now, I mean, granted, we talked about Fairmont's a slow starting team, but I mean, this game has not started off slow, and Fairmont is still trying to find their way in this game. You see our on the floor cam there picking up the action just past half court. Step back, stutter move is no good. That shot was off by Jalen Dixon.
And this crowd is into this game here so far in this one.
And now Fairmont runs this diamond offense on the inbound, where they kind of spread it all out and have Bartley inbounded at about 3/4 court. Hollinger 3 on the way is no good. Fairmont's first missed 3 of the game.
Trotwood gets lucky. She's not a player to miss a lot of wide open shots like that.
They're going to wave off the shot.
Looked like it was a reach-in foul there. It was on Makira Webster. That is her first and the team's 3rd foul in this first quarter. Jared, it looks like Trotwood, after coming out strong to start the game, they airballed their last shot. This shot, they shot a brick. It's kind of like Fairmont, they're starting to catch up to them, and
maybe they started a little too fast. Now they're kind of playing gassed.
just some bad decisions from Trotwood here these last couple of possessions.
Fairmont break the pass, and what a shot selection there by Thornton. Spins out of the way of the defender so she can't block the shot. but she draws the foul and is going to go to the line for 2. Fouls on number 2, Jalen Dixon. You see there at the scores table, Kendra Ketterer said he's ready to check in. And it looks like number 12 for the India Ahmad for the Rams.
And Ketterer, a great addition to this Firebird team. A transfer, she played at Oakwood a year ago. Just committed to Urbana, a great transfer and a great pickup for this Fairmont team.
As Thornton makes 1 for 2 from the free throw line. And now Huffman controls the ball, guarded by Westbeld. Now a double team, and they break out of it. And Fairmont forces the turnover with 21 seconds. Up court to Bartley, up to Westbeld, and Westbeld answers with her first bucket of the game. No, that's her second bucket of the game. Three on the way by Huffman at the buzzer. It rims out. Offensive rebound, no, but that's going to be how the quarter ends. And what a high-scoring first quarter. Fairmont leads by 1, 16-15. So what did you see out of that quarter that looks promising for the rest of this game?
Well, what I saw in that first quarter that looks promising for the rest of the game is I think it's going to be a good game all throughout.
It's going to be a good game.
Both teams are playing hard, and one thing that I saw that may give Fairmont an edge is Trotwood's last few possessions of that game. It's clearly obvious, at least to me, that Fairmont is in way better shape. Both teams didn't sub at all that quarter until Ketterer came in the last minute of the quarter, but both teams not really subbing, and Fairmont just playing gas. Right. And I pretty much can guarantee Fairmont's bench is better than Trotwood's bench.
Yeah, Fairmont is definitely, I think, the better conditioned team.
And that's one thing looking forward. Fairmont also has the better bench. So Trotwood's going to want to play their 5 starters throughout this whole game if they want to have any chance of winning. And Fairmont's a better conditioned team, so that's something you're going to have to look forward.
Yeah, and you can see Fairmont's bench almost looks like it's 2-1 compared to Trotwood. So if Trotwood gets into any sort of foul trouble, it's going to be detrimental for them.
And especially if you're playing your 5 starters all game, that's a hard thing to do. And Fairmont's a better condition, and Fairmont's a team that they also have depth that they could go to get players some rest. And if you want to wear this Trotwood team out, push the floor. Play hard defense, push the floor, attack on offense, and they'll get it done.
Trotwood gets the ball to start the second quarter here in our MVCC game of the week. Almost a travel there by the Rams.
Fairmont coming out in a 2-3 zone today, or a 3-2 zone.
Shot is good. The bank shot is good there by India Ahmad. Over to Thornton from Webster. Back to her. Down low to Bartley.
Nice pass.
Nice hook shot, but just a little bit too hard off the glass.
That was a great vision, great pass by Madison Westbelt.
And Bartley hits that 9 out of 10 times, almost every time. She's kind of almost patting that.
She probably heard those imaginary footsteps in the back of her mind. Hear that a lot with the term of football. It applies just as well to basketball as well.
Down low, turnaround from the free throw line. Shot's no good. Westbeld comes away with the board for the Firebirds. And Webster going to get it across half court, I think, before the referee could signal one. And Thornton's shot is no good.
Great vision, great pass once again. And we see these guards, Westbelt and Webster, making wonderful passes down inside of the post. It's just they're not making their shots down low. And we'll see if later in the game that comes back to haunt them, because that could have been some big points there, and Fairmont would have the lead if they hit those shots.
And a 3 there is no good. And they're going to call a foul. I did not see.
Back in the game for number 1.
Or maybe they called that a hit the top of the backboard. That's what it looks like, because I don't see anything on the scoreboard for a foul. Webster gives it over to Bartley. Down low to Westbeld, drives in, kicks it out. Thornton's 3 is no good, hits the side of the rim, or hits the side of the backboard.
Back in the game for the Firebirds, number 15, Alec Hollinger.
As you see, Hollinger checks back in, and that's something that Fairmont's really not used to, a one and done trip. I mean, they're used to getting 2 and 3 offensive rebounds a possession if they can't get that first shot to fall.
Trotwood's definitely playing a really, really good game right now. They are attacking, they're being very aggressive, but let's see if that wears them down here in the second half. Once after halftime, as the game goes on, let's see if that'll wear them down.
Hugh Huffman has another 3. She has 10 of the 20 points for Trotwood. Ketterer's going to shoot a 3. Can't answer back with one of her own, but the offensive board and put back by Westfield.
And you mentioned before the game that Fairmont has that 8-minute span where they go nuts. They're averaging right around 45 points per game. Within those 8-minute spans, the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second half, and here, minute and 40 seconds, we're going to hit that span, and let's see if that's where they start heating up.
And you see there, Westfield on the putback. It's still just a 2-point game. As this is kind of a different huddle. I mean, the players are in the huddle, but the coaches are in their own huddle out on the court. And you can see Finn is furious in that Firebirds huddle. He is furious. He slams the board down. He knows this team is not really making mistakes, but
missing their shots that they should be able to make.
Missing their opportunities, and they know that if Fairmont, or if they miss their opportunities, Trotwood is capable of capitalizing on them.
And you want to wonder what was going on in that Trotwood huddle. 2 separate coaching staffs out. And in my opinion, I feel like the coaches maybe went to their own huddle because maybe 2 of the coaches disagreed on something. They had to figure that out before they communicated their plan back to the players.
Right.
Maybe it was a coach's disagreement, not necessarily a player disagreement. You see that a lot happen, especially at the high school level.
And you see the coach for Trotwood signaling clear the paint. It looks like they want to try and take this one-on-one on Hollinger, but you've got, well, now they're going to kind of get out of it. Huffman gives it over to, that was Redmond. Ball is lost, but corralled by the Rams. They're going to drive baseline, gets the shot off, but no good.
That's just a terrible shot for Trotwood. You have got to kick that back out. You got to get a better look at shot, especially against this Fairmont team.
And Westfield goes quickly on the coast-to-coast. And I looked up and you saw Finn had his hands in the air as kind of a what are you doing shot as Trotwood airballs that 3.
That's now 2 or 3 straight possessions where Trotwood has not had a good shot. They've seemed like they've been forcing it, and it's starting to show. And you're Trotwood, you can't make those little mistakes against Fairmont. They've gotten lucky so far, still having the lead, but later as those go on, Fairmont will make you pay. They're ranked number 2 in the state for a reason.
Westfield drives in, takes the contact, no shot. Definitely questionable refereeing there by no contact being called. And you saw Westfield get nudged back a foot.
And Westfield was looking for the foul too. Her expression on the court showed it that she wanted a foul.
And if you're Huffman for the Rams who has the ball, you do not want to be guarded by Webster when you're like that, when she has the ability to run at you and make you make a difficult decision. She forces quite a few turnovers that way. As Thornton forces at least a jump ball, but no, they get out of it, the Rams do. Heads up play without turning it over. Redmond's shot is no good. Westfield comes away with the ball. Webster looking, kicks it over to Westfield. Back to Webster. Ketterer down low. Bartley clears out the paint, and Westfield can't answer, but the ball's going to stay with the Firebirds.
And that's a shot that Westfield usually does not miss.
Right.
And it wasn't just a little miss. She missed that by a good foot of the glass.
Over the rim. I mean, didn't use the backboard at all.
And we've seen her kind of come out ice cold in this game, struggling to find some points, and you can see it on the scoreboard. They're struggling right now without her getting involved.
Ketterer's 3's no good. Westfield on the offensive rebound, and she gets fouled on the putback. So she's going to go to the line for 2. And she only has 6 points in the game, which is well below her average.
Big part of this team, and one of the reasons why this offense hasn't been able to get going is because she hasn't been able to make her shots, hasn't been able to get heated up so far. Hopefully these free throws are some points that will be able to get her going here later in the game. Speaking of the Westbelts, just a great basketball family. Of course, Maddie going to play at Notre Dame. She'll be there next year. Her sister, Catherine Westbelt, played at Fairmont for 4 years, went to Notre Dame for 4 years, actually won the national championship with them.
As Westbelt misses that second one. 3 by Huffman is on the way, and it's good. Huffman has 13 points, 6 in this quarter. And Fairmont finds themselves down 4.
If you're Fairmont, you want to get a big momentum boost. You got to get something going right here, not necessarily because you're down by a lot. You just need a momentum boost. You need to get your players going. That basket by Maddie Westbelt should be able to be just the spark they needed heading into these last 3 minutes before halftime.
Yeah, definitely a mismatch there. You got Ketterer on Huffman.
That's one thing Fairmont does so good. They have the talent. They have everything you want as a basketball player. The height, the speed, the strength, everything that you want. So they always find ways to exploit those mismatches. That's one of the better things that they do.
And Huffman is fouled.
Fairmont foul number 40, Kingo Ketterer for first. That's the team 4.
Ketterer called for the foul there.
Going to the free throw line for Trotwood Rams, Hugh Huffman, 2 throw.
Huffman's 3 there from their last possession. Free throw there's good. I guess they're going to call her that was the act of shooting. I didn't think it was in the act of shooting, but.
And I just took a look up at the scoreboard, and she now has 14 points for Trotwood. At Fairmont, your change is simple. You shut her down, you take a lot of their offensive power away from that.
Yeah, and Coach Finn is livid on the sideline. Fairmont just threw away a loose ball rebound off the missed free throw. So Trotwood gets the ball back with 2:20, but Thornton steals it, and this might be the spark you said they need. Thornton doesn't answer on the layup, but she was fouled.
And here's if you're Fairmont, your defensive changes at halftime, find a way to stop Huffman. Huffman has over half of their points. She has 14, and the whole team has 24. You stop her, that's going to force a lot of players to have to step up big, and Trotwood, it'll be a good game if those players can step up, because Fairmont eventually will find a way to stop Huffman.
Foul was on number 2, Jalen Dixon. It's her second. Thornton's first free throw is good.
Back in the game for Trotwood, number 12, Vivian Armand. For the Lady Firebirds, number 15, Mallory Hollinger.
And you see there, Hollinger comes in for Ketterer for the Firebirds.
And Fairmont's putting their point guards to try to get these rebounds. They have their 2 big men back deep on the court.
But Thornton makes both, and Thornton goes for the steal. Gets ricocheted off of her, but Thornton is kind of a walking version of Makaira Webster. So basically you got two Websters on the court now with Thornton, and both of them are going to come up and play. And look at this defense Fairmont is running. They're going to play a full court press. Something Fairmont I've only seen a handful of times, and let's see if they try and play for the trap.
And the reason why they didn't go for the trap there is Hollinger saw the lady trying to sneak behind her. You go for the trap there, that's a wide open lane to get up court.
Huffman misses the shot. Bart Westbeld with the rebound, and Fairmont can take
Look,
the
Thornton,
lead.
she's wide open on the wing.
She's going to drive, kick it to her. Out to Westbeld, and a minute 50 left in the first half.
I'll tell you what, Thornton was wide open. If Webster got it to her just a second sooner,
that would have been a 3. Down low to Westbell, give and go to Bartley, off the glass is good, and 1.
And here we go. We've seen this a lot with this Fairmont ladies team this year.
And you see the reaction by Bartley, finally getting on the scoreboard, and she's going to go to the line for a 3-point play. You see there in the replay, I mean, Bartley plays with the emotions on her sleeve, and that's kind of what she's one of the top 2 in the state, and that's oh no, the official's timeout. But she's kind of like the biggest hype person on the bench too. She pumps up the bench, she overreacts on the court, and it's good for the Firebirds. In a tight game like this especially, you gotta have somebody that can do that.
And some news, Aries McKintway being looked at on the sideline. Looks like she got hit in the mouth, and trainer's looking at her on the sideline.
Looks like she's bleeding, so she had to come out. And Bart Westbeld with a block with 1:16 left.
This is where Fairmont will take off. They're going to end the half strong. They're going to begin the next half strong.
It just didn't come quite at the 4-minute mark.
Maybe that strength will last further into the second half than it usually does.
And Huffman throws it away.
Bad mistakes.
And now the refs are going to huddle up, and I think if they overturn this call,
I don't think I agree with that. I think that pass was too high for anybody to get up there and touch it. Not even Madison Bartley or Maddie Westbeld, I don't think, would have been able to touch that.
And now look at Fairmont's going to come back out and play this 3-2 zone again. They forced 2 turnovers with it earlier, as we're just at a minute left. Thornton, tight defense. 3 is going to be on the way. It's no good. Bartley comes up with the rebound, and Westbeld corrals it. As Webster's going to bring the ball up. 42 seconds left and counting. Bartley almost a travel there. Webster over to Thornton.
Trotwood coming out in a 3-2 zone of their own, too.
And really, it's working perfection. Down low to Westbeld. Off the glass is good. She now has 11 points in the game.
Fairmont's been on a 7-0 run as well.
13 seconds left and counting. It looks like Trotwood's going to hold for the last shot unless Fairmont can force a turnover. 6 seconds left, and Mallory Hollinger, I believe, is going to be called for that foul.
And Coach Finn is not happy about that foul.
I think that's just incidental contact. It looked like Hollinger and both of them kind of went for the same spot on the court at the same time, and she kind of fouled as they kind of bumped past. 4.7 seconds left. Trotwood to inbound.
Those types of fouls happen. That's why you have 5 for a reason. She's only got 1.
Shot at the buzzer's no good. And that is how the first half ends. Fairmont on a 7-0 run the last minute and a half, and lead 28-24 in your MVCC Varsity Women's Game of the Week. We'll be back for the second half in this tight nail biter.
thing I've noticed with Trotwood is that they haven't gone to their bench at all. They haven't gone to their bench at all in that first half. And are their players really conditioned to play the full game like that? Or is there going to be a lot of foul trouble that they're going to have to watch for later in the game? I don't know. Or maybe that's like not trusting your bench or not. And let's see where that takes them, because we know Fairmont, they got depth on the bench. They're well conditioned. They're going to be all right.
Fairmont gets the ball to start the third quarter here, our second half of our women's game of the week. And so far it's living up to the potential that it has, as Fairmont, the number two team in the state, is having a game here with the Rams, as Westbell gets an easy layup, giving her now 13 in the game.
And I'm looking for a travel there.
And they're going to call a jump ball.
I think she traveled right before the jump ball.
It looked like it too. I thought she stepped over the line.
She was very close. I think she was tiptoeing around that line, but she didn't want to go backcourt. It kind of forced her to travel in.
But I think you'll take the possession there with you and keep that in your back pocket. As Thornton's on ball defense.
That's another travel.
Yep, another travel there.
You can't go.
I was about to call the up and down, but
you cannot go up and jump. If you're in the air and you come back down, it's a travel. If you're in the air, you either got to shoot or pass, and a little stutter step jump there, just enough, barely enough to get the call.
And Fairmont turns it over there as they tried to work it down low to Westbeld, and Webster steals it, but I think she was called for a foul, and Webster comes down hard, but she's up.
That's just great hustle. She was at the other end of the court when that ball got stolen and hustled all the way down here. A lot of people don't know that Makira Webster, she injured her ankle at the very, very beginning of the season.
On the free throw line, Raymond.
Missed, I think, the actual opening game that they played. She was back for the second.
As Trotwood goes 1 for 2 from the free throw line. And now Trotwood's going to come out and play a full court press. Bartley's going to dribble it, gives it down low to Hollinger. Hollinger can't get the layup to go. As Thornton is on the ball scoots away, and it's right on the line. Look at that defense by the Firebirds, and she throws it off of Thornton, it looks like.
Trotwood must be really wanting to save these timeouts right now.
Yeah, that's a situation that I would have called a timeout if I was the coach for the Rams. But maybe you got to keep those in case Fairmont goes on a quick spurt. You got to call it. But here we go. The player that we've been watching is Huffman. Has 14 of the 25 points, and Fairmont's got to try and double team her. And here she's going to shoot a three. That's no good. She's
actually the lead scorer for either of these teams.
And really, if you're the Firebirds, you've got to try and make somebody else step up for the Rams in scoring. Hollinger down low to Westbeld. She's going to turn and shoot, and it is good. And Westbeld has all the points so far for the Firebirds in this quarter. And Trotwood takes a timeout there. 6:11 left in the first quarter. And now they find themselves down 7.
And here they go. They're going back into their coach huddle, too.
Yeah, that's something else that
something you don't really see a whole lot.
You see here in our MVCC replay, Westbeld gets it, just turns around and shoots from the free throw line.
You might have heard some shouting on the floor, and Trotwood's coach is livid right now. He is mad on the floor, yelling at his players.
Yeah, 2 turnovers.
Don't want to be a part of that conversation right now. You know what he's saying? We don't shape it up right now. Tomorrow we're going to run all practice.
Well, maybe we might get a closer look here. Maybe actually can read his lips.
I'm not a great lip reader, so that's all you, Jared. It's all you, buddy.
Well, let's see if we can interpret it. I think he's talking about that wide open three that they had left Hollinger open that she took but missed. Or maybe that Huffman missed. Sorry. He's talking about, they're not dribbling it to try and create separation.
And you know what? Our cameraman down there, he has some guts. I would not want to go near that huddle after he was yelling and screaming.
No, not the losing coach huddle, but
props to our cameraman.
Trotwood inbounds it there. Guarded by Thornton, and Thornton has really been all over the court tonight, offensively and defensively. And Fairmont almost forces a turnover there.
These are just lazy, weak passes right now. I just saw a second one that Westbell probably could have picked off too.
Trotwood cannot get any separation. Huffman shoots a three, and it is good.
Well, we mentioned this right before the half started. Fairmont's got to find a way to shut her down and stop her. That's a wide open three. That's not going to get the job done.
Hollinger at the other end. Hollinger could have taken the three if she wants, but she's going to dribble out and take some time. And I think a foul there is going to be called, and that might be the number 3 foul on Dixon.
And honestly, that's a good foul, because if Westbelt was able to transition that ball out to her right side and move it from her left side to the right side like she was planning to do, she had Kendall Ketterer wide open on the wing over on the right side of the court, over on the far side of the court. Wide open there, and Ketterer, we saw her in warm-ups. We've seen her before. She's not afraid to take that shot, and she can make it too.
Bartley trying to go through contact. Hollinger comes up with the loose ball. Hollinger gives it to Westbelt, and it's going to ricochet off of Trotwood, and it's going to stay with the Firebirds. That last foul by the Rams was actually by number 3, Raven Redmond, not number 2, Jayla Dixon. Westbell gets the inbound, stutter step, shoots a three, and oh my goodness. I don't think you can defend her.
That was almost perfect defense, and another timeout taken, and
that one was a full timeout taken by Fairmont. But, I mean, if we can go back and take a look at that three, I mean, she got the ball.
There's nothing really else you can do with that. Hand in the face. You know, not much distance to get that one off. That was perfect defense, and Trotwood's coach.
Now, see, this one is not one I would want to go into. After that, giving up that three, I mean, it was, like you said, it was good defense, but the only way anything you could do else was just knock her down. And even then, it still had the chance to go in, and it'd be a 4-point play.
And Maddie Westbelt, a player, if there's any player on Fairmont that I want at the line shooting free throws, it's her.
She has that ice in her veins mentality. She's not afraid of any challenge, and she's proven that over the past 4 years of covering her.
She kind of reminds me of the player like Ryan Hall from the men's team that graduated last year, played 3 years on varsity. Just kind of like the demeanor and how they both approach the game kind of reminds me of how his attitude and how he approached the game.
Now you see Trotwood's going to bring the ball up court. Thornton's going to, and she's going to almost a travel there. Huffman.
There's that double team we were talking about.
And look at Thornton just steal that one out of the air. Thornton's going to dribble out, kicks it over. Ketterer for three is no good.
They also had Hollinger in the other corner. There were 2 wide open threes there. If you're Trotwood's coach, that's a little bit of concern, because it's not just one mistake, that's 2.
And now Huffman's trapped in the corner, and Trotwood called a timeout, and he did not want to call that one.
Yelling, get off the court. We can hear him all the way up here.
And now, I mean, you look at, here we're looking at Fairmont's huddle. Not really anything that you would think he could be mad about.
That's really the difference of these two teams. You see Trotwood's coach, I mean, of course they're losing, but they're still very much in this game. They're only down by 7. Trotwood's coach getting mad, screaming, losing his temper, which, I mean, he kind of has a right to.
Right.
They haven't been playing that great to start this half.
Only 3 points in this, or 4 points in this half.
But there's Fairmont on the other side. They haven't played their best game, but still very, very calm, very basic approach. You know, and they have not played their full potential. They have not played great at all this game. But still very, very calm, you know. And
now you see Huffman, and that's where Fairmont needs to work on that. They've got double teamed on Huffman, and that one's going to go out of bounds. And a turnover for the Rams. That's their 3rd of the quarter.
Trotwood has come out of halftime flat, and if you're Fairmont, you want to take advantage of this. You can go up double digits right here.
Yeah, you've got to try and get something down low. Westbeld trying to find something. She's going to drive in, kicks it out to Kitterer, and then Thornton's going to reset. Oh, cross court to Westbeld, shoots the three, no good, but Fairmont comes up with a loose board, and a foul is going to be called. And here we go, really, Trotwood's going to go to the bench. And really, this is the only bench player I've ever seen come in is India Ahmad.
She's coming in for Eris McClintock. She came out earlier due to a mouth injury. And so she's been the only person to get subbed out today for Trotwood.
And now she's got 3 fouls, too.
That's the main reason why she's coming out.
Yeah. And now Webster's back into the game. I think this is the first time we've seen her on the court this half. But that's the like you talk about the depth of the Firebirds bench. They don't have to bring out the starting 5 to start the second half.
They could play all 5 of their backups, and they'd be able to compete with almost anybody as well.
Bartley down low, spin move, shots no good. Follow through on the putback. She now has 5 points in the game. A circus shot falls there for number 3, Raven Redmond. And Trotwood's going to come out in a full court press again. Trotwood deflects it and forces the turnover. Skip pass down low to Huffman. And that's a late whistle. And that's going to be another one on Thornton. That will be her second.
I don't know if I agree with that call.
I don't agree with how late the call was.
I didn't really see it was on Thornton. I didn't really see her come off the ground. I think she kind of stayed straight up into the air. Now she came off the ground, then yeah, that's a definite foul if she's up in the air, but I don't really think I saw her come off the ground. I think she stayed her foot planted in the ground.
Man, barely got off the ground
there. Yeah, just barely. Close call.
Makes both of them. And like you said, Fairmont had the opportunity to go up 10, and now they're only up 5. Thornton's going to go coast to coast, and she's just going in for the contact.
That's one thing you got to love about Fairmont. They are so aggressive.
Foul was on number 4, Goddess McIntyre, her first, team's third of the half. And Thornton's going to go to the line for 2. Free throws up and good. Trotwood trying to get some shot on the baseline's no good, but an offensive rebound for the Rams, and they can reset. Huffman shoots a 3, and that is denied by Westbeld. But Trotwood corrals the loose ball. That was what a block there by Westbeld.
Here's this double team once again too. Nice pass.
And the shot is no good and the ball is saved. What a save there by Trotwood. I didn't see who saved it. 3's no good, but another offensive board, and Bartley takes it out of the hands.
That's too many missed opportunities for Trotwood. You have got to connect on those, especially on that one. That was a great pass, just a missed layup.
And Bartley was fouled, but she will go to the line for 2. Can't answer on the bucket. And you can see Trotwood's coach is livid. Foul is on number 4, Goddess McIntyre, her second, team's 4th.
If you get 4 offensive rebounds in one possession against the Fairmont Firebirds, you've got to connect.
Yeah, you've got to score.
Because most teams are lucky to get 4 offensive rebounds in a game.
Against Fairmont?
Against Fairmont. If you get 4 rebounds on a possession, you got to somehow come away with at least a free throw with that.
Trotwood comes up court quickly and turns it over to Webster, and what a save, but she gives it right back to the Rams. And Webster comes back and steals it right back. a lot of defensive highlights in this game, and Westbeld comes up with the board after that missed wide open layup by Goddess McIntyre.
If you're Trotwood, you only have 2 timeouts, but right now
Webster's three is no good, but an offensive board by Westbeld. Off the glass is good.
You know, Trotwood, you only have 2 timeouts left in the game, but it's very, very tempting to use one right now.
Yeah, you're a timeout. You're about another 3 from being on one of Fairmont's lethal runs.
And they are struggling to put the ball in the basket right now.
And that's going to be a jump ball in favor of Fairmont.
You know, if I'm the coach, there is no fourth quarter unless you get your team controlled right now. I use one of those 2 timeouts right now.
Yeah, you have got to get this to a single digits going into the fourth quarter.
It's very, you know, you don't want to use a timeout here in this situation, only have one for the whole fourth quarter, but you don't use one here, it's going to get out of hand.
And the way Fairmont just broke that full court press, Bartley on the shot, and she's going to go back to the line.
Here's this run we were talking about. Didn't happen in the time period we thought.
It wasn't the middle 8, but it's trailing towards the end of the third quarter, where Fairmont is just firing on all cylinders. That foul was by number 12, India Ahmad.
You know, I see the philosophy of don't use a timeout. You only have 2. But again,
you got to break that.
You have to, because if you don't break this, the game's going to get out of control, and then you're going to have leftover timeouts later in the game that you aren't going to use in good situations. You got to get this team under control. They're struggling.
Bartley has hit her last 4 from the free throw line. She now has 9 in the game. And Trotwood trying to look for an answer. Drives into the paint, shot off the glass is no good, but Westfeld's going to be called for a foul. That'll be her second, team's third.
And one reason why I think Trotwood's offense has been struggling is because they have finally figured out a way to stop Huffman. Huffman, 14 points all of the first half. She has 5 points in the third quarter, which is still really good, but they only have, as a team, they only have 8 points this quarter. She hasn't had as big as an impact, and it's been made known you're not going to be able to stop her fully. You got to limit her, and that's one thing Fairmont's done really good, and that's why they've been able to jump out to this big lead.
Fairmont up 12 right now, 45-33, under a minute left. Fairmont trying to find some movement down low, working the ball down to Westbeld, and the shot is no good. Bartley trying to fight for the rebound, but she wisely backs out because that could have been a foul. Dribble in, kick out. Huffman's 3 is no good, and now Trotwood's starting to force shots, and that foul's going to be called. It looks like it's going to be Bartley, but her hands look like they were straight up.
And her feet were cemented and glued to the floor. I don't like that call. I think that's kind of just being overpowering size over the little point guard that was down there. I mentioned this. If you get your defender in the air and then you draw the foul, it's in the air. That's definitely a foul. But if your feet are glued to the floor, that's not a foul unless, of course, you're hovering over them. Bartley was as straight as a tree right there. And
yeah, I mean, right there, if anything, she kind of went into her.
If anything, I don't think they called the foul on Bartley, and if there was a foul there, I feel like it would have been on Maddie Westbelt instead of Bartley.
Right.
Westbelt came from behind and gave a little bit of contact, maybe not enough to draw a foul, but there was a foul. I think it would have been on Westbelt.
And it looks like Webster's going to hold this for the last shot of the quarter. 12 seconds left. Over to Westbelt. She's going to shoot a 3. No good, but she will not roll the rebound. And look at this defense, and it's going to...
They just threw it away.
No, they look like he said it's going to go off of one of the... Look like
They
Bartley.
Originally signaled it was a Fairmont ball.
3.8 seconds left. It's a spot throw. It'd have to get something going. Huffman's going to have to force one, and she doesn't even get a shot off. I don't think they realized how much time was left.
We see these late game mental mistakes kicking in. We kind of predicted this very beginning of the game.
But it's only an 11-point game going into the fourth quarter. Definitely insurmountable, or you can come back from this if you're Trotwood, but you've got to go back to that first quarter offense and defense that you were playing.
Especially offense, you had too many wide open opportunities and the shots that you just missed. You know, I cannot get over how many wide open shots, easy layups that they missed. And maybe it's the mental games that the Firebirds play on you. You know, you got these big players like Maddie Westbelt, Maddie Bartley. You have all these great, talented, big, tall players, and maybe that's the intimidation factor trying to kick in. You get down in their paint, what's going through your mind is, oh no, I'm about to get clobbered, and then you just shank the layup.
And I'm still questioning what is going on with this Trotwood coaching huddle. I mean, their coaches are out in their own huddle like we've pointed out the whole game. Here's a shot of the band, the Firebirds band.
Jared, I want to bring up something real quick. Did you watch the UD game last night?
I did not catch it.
There's something special this year.
I've seen them slowly rising up in the ranks each week, so they're definitely a team to watch out for. And Trotwood's got to try and find something. Huffman's going to shoot a three, and it's another forced three that the Fairmont will gladly let the Rams take.
Not a high percentage shot there.
Bartley down low, and she's fouled again. And Bartley's got a chance to go to the line to get to double digits. And 4 of her last points have been from the free throw line. Foul there was on number 3, Raven Redmond. Her second, team 6th.
Madison Bartley on the line. 1 and bonus.
First one is up and good.
You know, I don't want to jump too far ahead or anything, but man, is this team going to miss this senior class after they leave this year? Part of Westbelt, Bartley, Ketterer, Webster,
Thornton,
yeah, that's another one.
And I mean, that's what, I mean,
But
high school coaches, I mean, you build a program for spurts at 4-year runs. And Fairmont's had a good enough team. They've made it to districts the last 2 years. Lost last year to the current #1 team in the state, Mountain Notre Dame, the only team that's behind, or that Fairmont's behind. And and Fairmont wants to try and make a run for state. They'll have to play them in districts again this year.
And you know, there's you mentioned programs try to build up for the 4-year spark. And, you know, we kind of see the Fairmont guys team going through this too. They lost 2 players, Kellen Bohenick, Ryan Hall. They're kind of going through this too. A team full of sophomores trying to find their groove right now. Very young team.
Yeah, and then it's also the turnover in coaching too. I mean, first-year head coach Kenny Moles for the Firebirds. And you see the struggle. I mean, it's not a struggle because they're right around 500, I believe.
I think they're 5-8 to be exact, 6-8, something like that.
But it's just from going from I think he was from like Monroe and coming up to a big-time conference, a Division I school. I mean, not any lackluster on any of the smaller schools, but you tend to pack and fill a stadium and the arena with more the higher up you go, and so maybe just trying to get his game plan ready for a bigger.
And you know, it seems to me that whenever you have a first-year head coach, you're always going to have a layover, a bad year, trying to implement your team. We saw it with the football team a few years ago, went 1-9, then they made the playoffs 2 years in a row. And frankly, I like to think that's what happened to the Bengals this year too, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, what everybody's thinking, that future #1 draft pick, Joe Burrow, just won the national championship on Monday, and he looks like he could be a strong count. Maybe he could be the one to fix the Bengals next year and maybe get to what, 3 wins?
I'm calling 4. No, I frankly think they'll be right around 500 next year if they go through everything right.
But I mean, not to knock any Bengals fans, but wouldn't it be Bengal-like if they didn't draft Joe Burrow?
Oh, trust me, it's gone through my mind plenty enough. Southeastern Ohio kid, it's pretty much set in stone for him. It's fate that he comes to the Cincinnati Bengals. But somehow, yeah, it's run through my head a couple of times.
Webster's going to shoot a 3, and that one rims out. But Firebirds corral the loose ball. And Westfeld's going to give it to Webster, and she's going to dribble out to the logo at the half court and reset. Bartley has it knocked away twice, and Webster, it's going to be the Rams' ball. You saw she tried to get there, but she didn't want to step on the Rams defender that was on the ground. So Trotwood, this is what they need. They needed to force that turnover, and really, this is kind of where you need to shoot a 3 and make it to get it to a 10-point game.
Look for Huffman off the inbound. That's one thing that I'm trying to.
Huffman's guarded by Ketterer, so definitely the mismatch advantage. Huffman gives it over to India, and Huffman gets it. She's going to kick it out. There's going to be a 3 on the way. It's no good. Webster gets the loose ball, but she's trapped in the corner, and somehow she gets out of that. What a pass up court to Bartley, off to Thornton. And that is just how the Firebirds season has gone all year in that succession of plays right there.
This team is so much fun to watch. Watching them earlier in the season, watching them today. This team's got to be one of the most exciting teams to watch in not just women's basketball, but all of basketball around the area.
And watch, Bartley barely gets on the ground before she gives it off to Thornton. And, I mean, looking at the rest of the schedule here for the Firebirds, they're going up to Berlin, Ohio to play in that Journey to the Tourney. I believe that's what it's called. They're going to play a team out of Canton and a team that's called East Lake North. I believe that team is from New York. And then they're going to be home for Springfield. And then they'll be at Carroll. And then they'll be home for Wayne. That's their only loss of the year was a 2-point loss at Wayne. I think Fairmont has that game circled for revenge.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got Beaver Creek. And then we'll be back here Wednesday, February 5th for a game between Centerville. Or no, we'll actually be at Centerville. And then Fairmont will be back home. The senior night will be Saturday, February 8th against Miamisburg. But and another big game that Fairmont has kind of like on a revenge is that at Carroll. Last year, Carroll came here and won in triple overtime. So they're going to be at Carroll this year.
It's going to be a fun game to watch. Carroll was state runner-ups last year. It's going to be a great, great game to watch. 2 very top programs. Actually, Carroll's coach used to be Fairmont's coach, Coach Cogan. Coach Cogan, the Carroll's coach, coached Fairmont and took them to state.
Yeah, they took them. I mean, we can look over our shoulder. They took them to 4 straight regional championships, made it to the state Final Four every year before finally winning it all in 2013. And then, I mean, you look at the rest of Trotwood's schedule. They're at Warren High School. Then they're at Bishop Hartley. Then they play Centerville at home in a couple weeks, or actually next week. Then they play at Winton Woods, Lebanon, at Springboro, at Miamisburg, and they finish the year against Northmont.
And, you know, looking at this Trotwood team tonight, they're losing big, but it's to the number 2 team in the state.
Right.
There's nothing to hang your head over if you're Trotwood. You played hard and good. Practice comes around. You need to cut out the stupid mistakes. You need to take better shots, make your shots. And, frankly, you need to get your bench involved now, too. They really haven't. Now, maybe it's just because of the Fairmont and they trust their 5 starters more, but, I mean, they got to get more of their players involved so they don't rely on just 5 players the whole game.
That shot was no good. Webster's going to bring it in, pull up from the free throw line, and it is good. Webster has now 8 points in the game, but she has made such a huge impact in the game. It's more than 8. And we've still got 3.5 minutes left, and Fairmont's trying to stretch this. It's already a 21-point lead. And I mean, talking with a few people around the organization, Fairmont, we've kind of come up with it. It's called the Finn effect. Is the Fairmont third quarter is where they seem to surge all year. I mean, we've taken it down and broken down the numbers. They're averaging their opponents like out on a 4-to-1 ratio in the third quarter, and that's what happened in this third quarter. And that's really, if you're trying to beat the Firebirds, you've almost got to be up double digits at halftime and survive the third quarter.
And yeah, one thing, actually, we mentioned this at the end of the third is, when are you going to use that timeout? And it looks like they just did. And look, we have it right here. I wish I could circle it for you. Only one timeout left, but now you're down by 21. You know what I mean? And you're down by 21 and you still have a timeout in your pocket, whereas if you used it at the end of the third quarter, maybe you would have been able to control that run a little bit.
Right.
And be in better shape. I'm not saying it'd be a single-digit lead, but it'd be better shape.
Right. I mean, we talked about it. They should have taken that timeout when they were down 10 or 12 in that spurt.
Instead of 21. Because now they went on a nice little run. You have one more timeout left, and you know what that timeout's going to be used for? To put in your subs.
It's going to be Trotwood's ball inbounding underneath their own basket. And Trotwood, she thought about a three, but she's going to hit a floater in the lane. No good from the free throw line. What a pass up court by Webster. A lot of contact not called. Bartley can't finish at the rim. Up court, and Fairmont kept three back on that, and Trotwood has to dribble across through the paint out of it. Down low, Huffman denied by Bartley. And if they call that a foul on Bartley, that is, I think she needs an Oscar nomination.
Actually called that on Maddie
Westbell.
Maddie Westbell,
Okay.
yeah. I don't really think it matters much. I think this game is pretty much set in stone.
The first free throw was good. And, I mean, this is no knock. Huffman has 21 of the 38 points for the Rams. I have season totals coming in. She comes in averaging 17.5, so she's well above her season average coming into the game. It's just the not having kind of like that. I mean, they had a 1-2 punch in the first quarter with her and number 3, Raven Redmond, but you can't counter Fairmont's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 punch. As Thornton drives baseline, no good, but gets a rebound. Turnaround shot's no good. And Bartley, they're going to call for a travel as Bartley wisely went down to try and at least just get a hand on the ball to see if they could get the jump ball. Thornton on the inbound, and I was wondering why they didn't get it to Webster, but Westbell gets it off the glass, and she now has 24 in the game. And this is our second game covering the Lady Firebirds, and she's probably going to she's got my nod towards player of the game honors. 24 points. I'm assuming probably at least 10 rebounds. As Westbelt's going to bring it up court, gives it over to Thornton, drives it over to Hollinger. She's going to stop, shoot the baseline, and it just too high off the rim, and the refs stop play.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think Maddie Westbelt, well deserving of the player of the game. I think really the only person that comes close to her is Kiera Thornton.
Yeah, she's been everywhere on the court too. I mean, offensively, defensively.
She doesn't have the points to go along with Maddie Westbelt, but that's not her role on the team. Her role is to be a scrappy player who's all over the court defending.
And she has been tonight. free throw is up and good. Redmond's first one is good. Her second one's up and no good. Westbound comes down with another board. Trotwood tries the double teamer and she just gets through that easily. Bartley, shot off the glass is good. She's gonna have now 15 in the game. Huffman trying to get separation, gives it over to Redmond. She's gonna drive baseline, floater denied. Bartley, or Westbound up court to Bartley. And Thornton gets it on the glass. And that was kind of like a football throw up court.
Jared, I think this game's pretty much iced.
Yeah, and Fairmont, Huffman's shot is good. That gives her 23 in the game. And now Webster breaks the press. And Fairmont's been able to break this press all night. Thornton with a wild shot, and that one, Webster, I've been on the court, on the sideline filming before, and I've caught one of those Webster passes off the hand, and that stings. So I know why Thornton went out wide to get that one. And now you're going to see the platoon shift for the Firebirds with 1:01 left. It looks like you're going to see Schwegman, Mari Carter, let's see, 40, Diamond Noble, Jess Baker. I think that's number 10. Yeah, Serena Baker from the JV squad.
This is pretty much their starting lineup from JV.
Right.
Who also got a big win earlier today against Trotwood. A big one.
Mari Carter comes up with the rebound and gets it up court. Well, tries to get up court. She's guarded heavily, and she is fouled.
And she hit her head pretty hard.
Yeah.
Still holding it.
That's Redmond's third foul. Carter's going to go to the free throw line for 2 throws just because Trotwood's in the double bonus, or Fairmont's in the double bonus. First one's good for Mari. Second one is no good. Redmond comes away with the rebound for the Rams, gives it off to Huffman. Huffman trying to make some moves, gives it over to India. And it's loose, but Huffman picks it up. She thought about a 3. Redmond shot off the glass is good. And Baker, I think she stepped on the line.
Yeah, that's what they're pointing.
Yeah, she stepped on the line before she inbounded it. And now you see a scrum for the ball. Huffman comes up with it from the free throw line. It is good for number 12, India Ahmad. And Baker gets the inbound pass this time. And Huffman steals the inbound, or steals it. Huffman's shot off the glass is good.
That'll pretty much take us to the end.
Yeah, this is Jess Baker's going to run up court with 5 seconds left. Gives it off to Noble, and she's shoots it. And the refs
one second.
1/10 of a second, the refs decide to stop it. But, I mean, that one's going to do it. Fairmont, a 4-point game at the half, and that third quarter we've talked about it and saw it coming. Fairmont wins by 27, wins 64-47 in our MVCC Women's Game of the Week. We'll be back next Friday. It'll be the Fairborn Skyhawks at the West Carrollton Pirates. Signing off for the rest of Miami Valley Communications crew, Jared Bergstrom and Jackson Lightcap.
Rams.